Good evening and happy National Nurses Day. This is Passionate Bliss, and I'm here again tonight with questions, comments, useless facts about me. First, go to my YouTube channel, Passionate Bliss, comment, like, subscribe, share. My question today was presented to me by one of my viewers. It was a man who said, I would like for you to make a video about the importance of meals in a relationship. And this is a relationship channel with our goal being to reconnect black men and women. And so I thought, okay, of course, I thought it was a little bit exaggerated because, of course, it was coming from a man, and they always are trying to get you to cook and eat. And so, but then I did a little research on it, and once you think about it, food does actually have a big impact on your romantic relationships. A good bit of your time is actually spent discussing, cooking, and eating food. And food plays a role in our relationship, okay? And here's how. Do you believe that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach? That's often been said. Do you believe that food is love? That's often been said. And Southern women like to say there's love in our food. We can taste it, feel the love in your food. And there's a sense of accomplishment and a sense of creativity. And there's an emotional connection when you do get that reinforcement. They say in the South, you put your foot in that. A lot of times I'll say, you did that. Oh, that was on point. And so, and there's a sense of accomplishment and a sense of caring and nurturing that a Southern woman does feel when she sees her family eat well and she sees them enjoy their food. And so that makes them want to give extra attention to the meals they present to their family. And that's why Southern women have a reputation for being great cooks. And I'm here to certify that that is the case. And I've lived on both sides of the country. Okay. And so I wanted to take a look at it. There was a quote that I have for today. It says, one cannot think well, love well, or sleep well if one has not dined well. That's my quote for today. And so when you look at the relationship cycle that was presented to me when I was doing my research, it says that in a relationship, a romantic relationship, there's a cycle. There's eat, sleep, sex, work. And those are the components of a relationship cycle. And if you think about it, you spend a great deal of time as a couple discussing food. Whereas it's going to be, what are we going to eat? When are we going to eat? Where are we going to eat? Who's going to cook? and how are we going to cook it? And so as a couple, you can spend a great deal of time discussing food. You've spent a great deal of time talking over food. You're focusing on each other and you're focusing on the food that you're eating, especially if you go out to eat. And so food actually does play a big component in a relationship. Relationships are steeped in decisions about food. And the way that happens, it can tell you through your food interaction what kind of person that you're dating, actually. It can actually be that you're having little fights over food. If you don't like the same types of food, or if you do like the same types of food, you'll be experiencing new foods with each other. And if the person that you're with doesn't want to cook, that can be a fight. That can be a fight. I've had that fight myself. If the person that you're with, is a picky eater, that can be a fight. If you can't agree on where to go to eat, that can be a fight. And I've actually experienced that. And I'll share that little story. I was dating someone, and I don't usually pay for the dates, but this time I was. So I felt that we should go where I wanted to go, but he didn't want to go there. And as a result, I said, well, that's where I'm willing to pay for to go. So he went there and he sulked and he pouted and he wouldn't talk and he ruined the whole meal. And actually, that was the last date I had with that person. So food can actually be a big revelation about the people that you're with, how they handle conflict, how they handle disagreements, how they, accept, a change in authority. Okay. And so that for me was telling, and that was somebody I didn't want to see again. So food can actually reveal things to you about people. Some things with food, food can show you if the person you're with is a food shamer. Okay. If they, ooh, you eating so much. Ooh, you hungry. Ooh, you greedy. Ooh, why you eating that? That's loaded with calories. If somebody's going to food shame you while you're eating, dump them immediately. And because that shows that you're not compatible on how you see food and how you see yourself eating food. Okay, so you can have it revealed in a meal that this person is a food shamer. Okay, what else can it show you about the people? Your ability to agree. Does this person, like in my scenario, do they always have to have their way about where you go? What happens if they don't get their way about where you go or what you eat? So that can tell you about that person, how well they are able to compromise and communicate, and how they handle it, if they're not the one that comes out on top. So it can show you that about the person. What else? It can show you how they view roles of equality. Is there a man that's always wanting you to cook? Okay. Does he ever cook? Does he know how to cook? Is he willing to learn how to cook? Does he help you cook? I will say one of the best times I had when I was dating someone was us cooking a new recipe together. And it was actually, a very intimate and bonding thing. Food can be intimate and bonding. I remember him, making a dish, and then he would give me a little piece in my mouth, and I would eat that piece, and I was like, oh, hey, that's great, looks good, tastes good. And he'll be like, how you think this is? Does this taste right? And so it was really a really bonding thing, and I actually enjoyed that scenario, cooking together, so you can bond over food. And you can see if that person feels like a woman should do all the cooking. That can be revealing through food. What else? How they treat wait staff. When you go to a restaurant, are they nasty with the wait staff? If they are, 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to be nasty with you. So that may show you some hidden aggressiveness, some hidden nastiness, some hidden over demandingness. Also, it could show you that they're socially inappropriate. They may embarrass you in a social setting, and so food can be revealing, in that way about a person. Your conversations over food. If you're with someone and you're eating food and you're speaking, because a lot of times, especially when you first meet someone, or if you have a big group together, people may be a little bit nervous, especially if you're introducing strangers. They may be a little bit nervous, but once they start eating the food, people have a tendency to bond and start talking. First, they start talking about the food, then they start talking about their day, then they start talking about their lives and their likes and dislikes. And if you're with someone and you're eating a meal, and you don't start relaxing and start sharing and communicating, then that could show that maybe this is somebody that either they have trust issues, or you, for some reason, don't want to relax, or they made you so uncomfortable that you didn't want to relax and start talking and loosen up with this person. So food can reveal a lot about people. So I think it does have actually an impact. A lot of times people have emotional connections to food. Food is love, because as, a community, when we celebrate, they'll, oftentimes we'll say, hey, let's go out to dinner, let's celebrate. And so food is a part of your celebrations. Your weddings, it's a celebration. You have the meal after the event. And so sometimes also food can be used when you're distraught. There are people who eat when they're sad, to make themselves feel better. And there are people, especially in my culture in the South, when a family loses a loved one, we take food over. Sometimes we make sure that the food is coming until the day that person is buried, and then after the burial, we go back to the home, for the for the repast, to have the food. And so we use that food to comfort each other when we're mourning. So there are emotional ties to food that affect almost all of our relationships, and foods can create memories. And even if it's, remember the time that actually we have a memory in my family, because I'm sweet potato pie queen. It's well known in this whole town. And so I remember my sister brought a friend home, and I said, hey, go get some sweet potatoes. This guy went to the store and brought back potatoes in a can, and we laughed for quite some time. And he was like, what? And I was like, we've never used canned sweet potatoes for any reason. And so we still have that memory of that person, that's a friend of ours. And so and even, we'll have a running joke. Can you give me some sweet potatoes? Not you. And so food, can you create memories over food? Whether it was a good dish or was a bad dish, or if you learned whose recipe it was you got it from. And cooking together is bonding again, like I said. So a lot of times, there's a lot of things that are involved with food and how they impact your relationship that we don't realize until you actually sit down and think about it. And so to that gentleman, I would give my apology, because I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was stupid, actually, as a topic, but I told him I would do it. So I said, okay, I'm going to do a really quick video on it and get it done. But actually, it turned out to be a lot more detailed. And so I want to give him my apology, and I wanted to give him that credit for bringing that up. It's a big deal in a relationship. So yeah. We'll go with that. Let me know what you think. Comment below. Thanks, Chaos, for the topic.